Thank you for joining the call, Mark Milley. Your camera's off. It's a lot better for us to see your face. Show up. The time for subtlety has passed.
Time for subtlety has passed. It's buried. It's in the ground.
Yeah, it's right next to fucking Ivana on the golf course. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speech Center. We are just counting down the days until the election, breathing into a paper bag, twiddling our rosary. The Harris and Trump campaigns are out in full force. Can they finish out the season strong? Ugh. Joining me once again, you know him, you love him, it's Tim Miller. Tim, as we careen towards Election Day, you also have something else to look forward to, the return of the NBA. How are your Nugs looking going into the season?
Well, John, it's very similar to politics, actually. The pundits are down on the Nuggets, on the Nugs going into the season. And so I'm doing my Rosary Novena to St. Nicola. Are you, which saint? Do you have a particular saint that you go to for your novena?
Yeah, like I'm a St. Elmo's type.
St. Elmo's fire kind of guy?
Yeah, I think of myself, I'm only Catholic aboard vessels. That's where I'm in aboard seafaring vessels. On today's show, Kamala Harris is pulling out all the receipts on Donald Trump at her rallies in North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, Donald Trump gives us a sneak preview of his Spotify Wrapped this year. That's a good one to want. By bizarrely jamming out to his favorite tunes at his Pennsylvania town hall, and speaks to a women's town hall in which the questions seem to have been screened by some kind of a Politburo member. Some of the softest questions I've ever heard a person asked in a public forum. First up, let's go to Oaks, Pennsylvania, where Trump held his weirdest town hall yet with honorary special guest Kristi Noem.
Are we sure that's her?
It is Kristi Noem. It is. It doesn't. Yes, I see your questions.
There's been a lot of changes.
There has been some shifts. Hashtag gay news. Yes, there seem to have been some adjustments.
If everybody gets out and votes on January 5th or before, it used to be you'd have a date. Today you can vote 2 months before, probably 3 months after. They don't know what the hell they're doing. If somebody knows that you have a gun in your house, they say, let's go after somebody else. People put signs under this gun, or we have, some of them actually spell the kind of a gun they have. We have an AK-47 inside. I knew about an AK-47 from a few weeks ago. And the AR-15, I know about that one too. I know a lot. We don't have electric in this country, but we have all the gas you can use. We have oil and gas. That's what we have. California is having blackouts every week, brownouts, blackouts, and then they come up with rules and regulation to go to all electric, but they can't even supply what they have. It's so nuts.
Okay, so I'm glad we're watching this clip.
Tie race.
What'd you say?
Tide race.
Tide race.
Tide game.
Donald Trump is not strategic, obviously, but he has people who are strategic. And I do think there's a kind of devil's bargain even within the Trump campaign, which is just like, let him just go ramble to his supporters that he has. He says enough in those things to rile them up and remind them of the importance of voting. He does enough on the negative partisanship to hit Kamala Harris that we get some good out of it. We get a lot of bad out of it. But for the most part, we'll restrict his worst instincts to those rallies and trust that the fragmentation and decline of access to media is going to protect us from the worst consequences of these rallies. What do you think?
They're more disciplined about trying to paint Kamala Harris as an extreme, somebody that is out of touch or not up for the job through their paid than Donald Trump is in the rambling remarks that you saw there, where I don't even understand. I guess his point was that people have guns in their houses and then that makes them safer, which I don't actually think is true. I think that if you looked at the evidence that people who have guns in their houses are actually more likely to die from gun violence, but I guess that was the point that he was trying to make. It's hard to tell.
Tim, first of all, let me just take a moment to appreciate your shift on this issue. Your shift to the left on this issue, because you're absolutely right. He's doing something about gun rights, and then his mind goes back to the assassination attempt. He's defending access to guns, and then he kind of, in a way that is counter to his point, is like, I've dealt with an AR-15 pretty recently. You mean when you were shot at?
Yeah.
By a maniac? Now let's go to the highlight of the town hall. After the event was interrupted by 2 medical emergencies in the crowd, Trump regained the attention of his audience through the power of song.
Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song.
Okay, let's do a couple of
more fast questions.
So, Justin, how about a couple of really beauties? We're the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're going to bring it back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Go and vote. Let me hear that music, please.
Everyone, let's thank President Trump.
Nice and loud.
God bless you. Let's send President Trump back to the White House.
Those two people that went down are patriots, and we love them.
Yes.
And because of them, we ended up with some good music, right? Right? So play YMCA. Go ahead. Let's go. Nice and loud.
Here we go, everybody.
Nobody's leaving. What's going on? There's nobody leaving. Keep going. Keep going. Should we keep going? All right, turn that music up. Turn it up. Great song.
What did you make of Donald Trump just standing on stage while playing 39 minutes of music as his supporters who waited hours for this event slowly started to walk out because they were confused?
Well, it's a little bit of a view into the future because I think that we're in Marie's Crisis in Hell right now with the soundtrack. It's like the old gays, but it's Donald Trump and Kristi Noem is in the bar. Not any handsome men.
Look, if you're not sure what Tim means when he says Marie's Crisis, he's of course referring to a famous piano bar in the basement, I believe in Greenwich Village. Do you know where the crisis comes from, Tim?
I'm not gonna guess.
It comes from Thomas Paine. It comes from Thomas Paine.
Shit.
Yeah.
My man Thomas Paine.
Who I believe
Give me freedom.
either
Give me
okay,
liberty.
someone fact check this. I believe he died there. I don't know where this is in my brain, but I believe he died there.
At the beginning with Kristi Noem talking to him, it just gives us such strong vibes of like you're speaking to your Mimi at an old folks home and asking them if they want their comfort food or comfort music or should we put on your favorite song. Like it just gives that vibe off so strongly that you have to, bring voice to it.
I have never in my life seen a better representation at the same time of Trump's two great flaws. One is that he's an authoritarian. The other is that he's a world-class fucking buffoon. Like, you cannot defend Donald Trump swaying and bopping for 39 minutes on stage. You cannot defend Trump saying he's going to arrest his enemies and sick the military on Adam Schiff.
Well, Glenn Youngkin can defend it. You just pretended it didn't happen.
Pretended it. Well, that's not defending it. That's going into fucking La La Land.
I think it's a very compelling message to be like, the dude is fucking losing his marbles. And like these things pair well together. Like he's losing his marbles, he's old, he's sundowning, and he also wants to be in charge of the military and tell them to do shit. Like that is not a great combo, and it's just like it's probably worth just not voting for him if you already are disinclined to vote for him.
And finally, we go to Trump's pre-recorded all-women town hall hosted by Fox News. Women drink free at the Trump town hall.
Amber Thurman's family have come out on a press call. And they're doing what's called a pre-buttal 2-hour town hall right now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah? And I want to
Get better ratings, I promise. And IVF, you had mentioned before
Right,
IVF.
let's get this question because I believe that's what this is about.
Oh, I want to talk about IVF. I'm the father.
You don't hear that every day.
I'm the father of IVF, so I want to hear this question. I got a call from Katie Britt, a young, just a fantastically attractive person from Alabama. She's a senator. And she called me up like emergency, because an Alabama judge had ruled that the IVF clinics were illegal and they have to be closed down. A judge ruled. She said, I was attacked. In a certain way, I was attacked. And I said, explain IVF very quickly. And within about 2 minutes, I understood it. I said, no, we're totally in favor of IVF.
Donald Trump is doing a propagandist Fox News town hall with all softball questions to try to appeal to women. And this family is going to do press beforehand to say, fuck this. Donald Trump's policies are terrible for women. And Donald Trump says we're going to get better ratings. Everybody laughs. He has attracted and encouraged the worst fucking fecklessness and meanness and carelessness in his supporters, in his allies, and it's disgusting.
I also just on top of that don't really like hearing him talk about fertilization.
Right.
And how he's the father. I don't want to hear him saying he's the father of anything except for his own children. College-educated women are going for Harris by 38 points more than him.
Yeah.
It is just an unbelievable chasm. And so this little kind of fake when like Megyn Kelly had a talk show for 6 weeks where she pretended to be nice type thing. Like that didn't work for her, and like this isn't working for Trump.
I do think that Donald Trump's saying within a few moments of each other that he is the father of IVF, but also that Katie Britt, who he points out is hot, had to explain to him what IVF was a few weeks ago, sort of undermines your claim to be the father of something you just heard of.
He's doing better than Republicans have in the past with like the people that pay the least attention to politics. You know, like you've seen the TikTok of they're going around campus talking to strangers, and like a random girl will be like, "We did lose Roe v. Wade when Biden was president." So I don't, like you've seen shit like that, like the people that pay the least possible attention. I do think he hopes this stuff kind of helps gives him some cover for like the lowest informed voter.
Speech Center is sponsored by the Council on Foreign Relations. Americans face a significant choice in November, I'll say. When they vote for the next U.S. president, whoever wins will face a difficult and dangerous world. Yes, that's also true. As part of a grant from the Carnegie Corporation, and I said Carnegie because that's how they said it on NPR, but Tommy's over here saying it should be Carnegie. The Council on Foreign Relations is running a 7-episode special series on the foreign policy challenges that will test the next president. How should the United States respond to the rise of China? What are the prospects for a diplomatic solution for the war in Ukraine? Will increased trade protection invigorate the U.S. economy or derail it? Each episode in this special series features discussions with experts who assess possible strategies the United States could follow and identify the inescapable trade-offs that will confront the next president, whether it's a competent mainstream center-left Democrat or a nutcase who's out for his own personal, financial, and psychological gain. I added that part. Council on Foreign Relations is nonpartisan, but not this guy. Listen to this special series of the President's Inbox podcast to find out how the U.S. should respond to challenges that could determine our future. You can find the President's Inbox wherever you get your podcasts. Now let's go to Kamala Harris in Greenville, North Carolina, where she calls out Trump directly for his lack of transparency, as we were discussing.
He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. He is unwilling to do a 60 Minutes interview. Like every other major party candidate has done for more than half a century. He is unwilling to meet for a second debate. It makes you wonder, why does his staff want him to hide away? One must question, are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable to lead America? Is that what's going on?
Hook it into my veins, Ted. Hook it into my fucking veins. This has been a drum that I've been hitting, and it's not important, but these soundbite moments, I want them to be faster. I think more of these clips would make it into the news and onto television and in front of people and in people's social media if they were just tighter. She goes through these moments so slow. It's a small criticism, but it bugs me. It bugs me, Tim.
Yeah, I know it bugs you. You know, you're correct. You're correct on the merits of the modern, media environment, but I kind of like the drama of the build-up. We did this last time, but it's just worth saying again. She just looks so much better than him. The shot looks so good.
The shot
is
time. Excellent. The event building by the Kamala Harris campaign is so fucking good. The shots are good. It looks so good.
My version of your nitpick is like, could we do 3 of those in a day? I don't know. The schedule's a little light for me because I just think more Kamala is more. And, I think that the message there is right on. And we go back to what we were discussing with the Trump question, right? Which is, what is more potent? That he is like weak and sundowning and losing control of his faculties and dangerous, or like that he's like strong man that's going to send his military to kill Adam Schiff. And it's like, I think the first is better politically, and that's what she was hitting strongly there.
Yeah, I agree with that. We talked about this a bit on Pod Save America yesterday. I think that's
haven't checked in on that yet.
No, and that's fine. I don't catch.
We'll
every
get
episode.
to it on the plane.
I don't catch every episode of The Bill Work. I do as much as I can.
Appreciate that.
But I think Trump's bravado, his rebelliousness, is very appealing for a lot of people, and including some people that we need. And I do think you're trying to get it out there. Just get it into people's minds that when you see him transmuting his what signals, I think, for a lot of people as strength into signaling that it's weakness, I think is valuable. Maybe too much to hope for in the final couple of weeks, but I don't think it's unhelpful. All right. Next clip. Harris also calls out in this rally how most of Trump's former allies believe he's a menace to society, including General Mark Milley.
General Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs under Donald Trump, it was just reported he said, quote, "No one has ever been as dangerous to this country," in referring to Donald Trump. Think about that. Think about that. And we can already see the harm he's up to as a candidate. Most recently, spreading disinformation in the wake of natural disasters. Blocking real solutions that would stop drug cartels from crossing the border when he tried to kill and did that border security deal. Because you see, Donald Trump cares more about scaring people, creating fear, running on a problem instead of what real leaders do, which is to participate in fixing problems.
Really good. I'll do, since you did your bugaboo on the last one, I'll do my little bugaboo on this one, which is disinformation shouldn't be in her speech. Okay, I'm sorry. Like that's like a word for power listeners of Pod Save America, and I love power listeners of Pod Save America. There's some overlap. People that are also power listeners of the Borg podcast, but we're not the median voter. And like disinformation is a weird word, and she should just be like
lies,
spreading lies,
lies, conspiracy theories. Bullshit. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, Tim.
Anyway,
I
that's
hadn't thought
my
about
little
that.
thing. But besides that, like again, it is correct. It is right on. And the bigger issue that I have with that clip is that
I know what you're gonna say.
It should be Mark Milley on camera.
Fuck
her,
yeah,
but.
Tim. This is we're listen to Pod Save America. Listen to Tim.
You were so worried about the state of the country that you had to speak to Bob Woodward at a party in Georgetown.
Hey man,
it's like, all right, bro. Okay, come on.
Mark Milley,
go out to Greenville.
You've been serving your country for decades. You've already said what you're gonna say to Bob Woodward. You've said what you're gonna say to Jeffrey Goldberg. You've crossed the line already. You are being political. Actually, I would argue that you're doing the opposite of being political. I think coming out and saying to defend our democracy, we must vote for Kamala Harris is actually putting politics aside. To avoid doing that is to allow politics to prevent you from serving your country. But it's 2024, man. You do a better job getting people to notice it, just saying it on the streets of D.C. than putting it in the print of a Bob Woodward book. Get on your Zoom. Hey, thank you for joining the call, Mark Milley. Your camera's off. Can we just want to see everybody in this meeting. It's a lot better for us to see your face. Show up.
We're doing a bus tour. Philly, Pittsburgh, Detroit. Come on. You're welcome, any of them. Come out on stage, special guest.
Like there was that ad that the Harris campaign put out. I think it was mostly just for the internet. But it was an ad with various people, your Espers and others, saying what they've said. Yeah. And they have a clip of Mark Milley, which I actually had never seen before, of him talking about in a kind of
commencement.
The commencement, a kind of an oblique way. The time for subtlety has passed.
Time for subtlety has passed. It's buried. It's in the ground.
Yeah, it's right next to fucking Ivana on the golf course.
Yeah.
And finally, we go to Erie, Pennsylvania, where Kamala Harris pulls a SpeechCenter at her own rally by playing incriminating clips of Donald Trump. We here at SpeechCenter are incredibly grateful to know that Vice President Harris is a fan.
He tells us who he is. And he tells us what he would do if he is elected president. So here tonight, I will show you one example of Donald Trump's worldview and intentions. Please roll the clip.
The worst people are the enemies from within. The enemy from within. Those people are more dangerous, the enemy from within, than Russia and China. These people should be put in jail the way they talk about our judges and our justices. Now, if you had one really violent day, one rough hour, and I mean real rough. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Kamala Harris at the debate gets under Trump's skin by saying, if you don't believe me, watch his rallies. Now she's at her debate showing Trump at a rally. It just couldn't be more clear that they know that Donald Trump is not in front of enough people's eyeballs and that they need to get Donald Trump in front of people's eyeballs. What do you think?
Yeah, more Trump is bad, more Kamala is good. And I think that there have been some mistaken theories about this over the years, like thinking that Trump platforming him or whatever. And I think that there's certain instances where it does hurt to platform people, to give them more attention. Like Donald Trump is way past the time where that is kind of a useful conversation. And it just bears out in the data. The more Trump is in people's face, the less that core tiny group of people that matter like him, and the opposite's been true for her. The more she's been in front of people, the more her numbers have improved. So I think that's got to be the goal for the last couple weeks.
Yeah. So it's time for our wrap up. Hot takes encouraged. Who came out of these events looking the best? These were tougher questions when Biden was going to be the candidate. I'll say that.
I'm going to say Kristi Noem came out looking the best because, wow, I didn't even know that was her. Just a whole new face for Kristi Noem. But I guess I would say second best would be Kamala. Distant third for Donald Trump and having to have his comfort gay musicals.
Yeah. And what do we anticipate in the remaining weeks left before the election? Oh, man. What a question.
Yeah. Can I give us a speech center so I can give a strained sports metaphor?
Please.
Kamala's like the quarterback, and she's been doing a really good job. But it's kind of out of her hands, almost, at this point. I mean, like, really? They call the crowd in a lot of football stadiums the 12th man, right? So 11 men on the field. It's really going to come down to the 12th man at this point. Like, the country is the one that has let us down. People sitting in the stands, eating the hot dogs, eating the pretzels, having too many beers. Those are the people that are failing right now. And so don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up out there in the stands, okay?
If you are seeing this, if you are listening to this, we are on the home stretch. Go to Vote Save America and sign up. If you haven't done a canvassing shift, if you haven't done a phone banking shift yet, you are the problem. You know enough. You care enough. It's time. That's
Stop
what Saturdays
watching this
are
YouTube
for.
feed.
Finish the YouTube. Watch a few more YouTubes. But on Saturday or Sunday, guarantee wherever you are in this country, you are 2 hours away from either a presidential contest that could decide the fate of democracy, or a House race or a Senate race that could determine whether or not we control the House, protect abortion access, protect democracy, have insurrectionists deciding whether or not to certify an election. So it really is time to put your time and attention where your listening habits have been.
Pull it together, people.
Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's time for the 12th man. I like that.
I have to do the sports metaphors on the show.
And I appreciate that.
That's why I'm here.
And that's why you're here.